The city of Goma in the Democratic Republic of Congo is once again a battleground. The M23 rebel group has seized control. Heavy fighting has raged for days. The Congolese army has struggled to hold back the rebel advance. The situation is desperate. M23 rebels, heavily armed and organized, have taken control of key infrastructure. The airport, now under their control, is a strategic asset. The city is paralyzed by fear. Residents are trapped in a cycle of violence. The world watches, seemingly powerless to stop the bloodshed. Goma's fate hangs in the balance. The outcome of this conflict will have far-reaching consequences. The stability of the entire region is at stake. The M23 rebellion did not emerge in a vacuum. Rwanda, Congo's neighbor to the east, plays a shadowy role. Evidence points to Rwandan support for the rebels. Weapons, funding, and even troops have crossed the border. Rwanda's government denies any involvement. They claim neutrality in the conflict. But the international community is skeptical. Too many connections link Rwanda to the M23. Their denials ring hollow. This is not the first time Rwanda has interfered in Congo. The Rwandan genocide of 1994 cast a long shadow. Hutu militias, responsible for the genocide, fled to Congo. Rwanda pursued them, igniting a regional war. Rwanda's actions in Congo are driven by complex motives. Security concerns, regional power dynamics, and economic interests all play a part. But one thing is clear: Rwanda's involvement has fueled the flames of conflict. The conflict in Goma is a humanitarian catastrophe. Civilians bear the brunt of the violence. Thousands are dead or wounded. Hospitals are overwhelmed, struggling to cope with the influx of casualties. Stories of suffering emerge from the city. Families huddle in fear, trapped in their homes. Food and water are scarce. Medical supplies are running low. The situation is dire. Children are particularly vulnerable. Many have witnessed unspeakable horrors. They are at risk of disease, malnutrition, and recruitment into armed groups. Their future hangs in the balance. The international community must act to alleviate the suffering. Humanitarian aid is urgently needed, but aid alone is not enough. A political solution is essential to end the violence and bring lasting peace. The fighting in Goma has triggered a mass exodus. Terrified residents are fleeing for their lives. They are seeking refuge in neighboring towns and villages. Many are heading for the border with Rwanda. The roads leading out of Goma are choked with displaced people. They carry their meager belongings on their heads or backs. Families are separated in the chaos. The elderly and infirm struggle to keep up. The influx of refugees is straining already limited resources. Host communities are struggling to cope. The United Nations and other aid agencies are working to provide assistance, but the needs are overwhelming. The displacement of so many people is a tragedy. It is a testament to the human cost of conflict. The international community must do more to protect civilians and find a peaceful resolution to the crisis. Section 5. A hollow chorus of condemnation. The international community has condemned the violence in Goma. Statements of concern have been issued. Calls for a ceasefire have been made. But, concrete action has been slow to materialize. The United States, through Secretary of State Marco Rubio, has urged Rwanda to stop supporting the M23 rebels. The European Union has echoed these calls. The African Union has expressed its deep concern. But words are not enough. The international community must move beyond rhetoric to action. Sanctions against those responsible for fueling the conflict should be imposed. Support for the Congolese government should be increased. The people of Goma are looking to the world for help. They need more than empty words. They need decisive action to end the violence and protect civilians. Section 6. Echoes of a bloody past. The current conflict in Goma is not an isolated incident. It is the latest chapter in a long and bloody saga. Eastern Congo has been plagued by violence for decades. The roots of the conflict run deep. The Rwandan genocide of 1994 had a profound impact on the region. Hutu militias, responsible for the genocide, fled to Congo. Rwanda pursued them, sparking a regional war that drew in neighboring countries. The 1998 to 2003 Second Congo War was a particularly brutal chapter. Millions of people died, many from disease and starvation. The conflict left a legacy of instability and violence. The M23 rebel group itself is a product of this history. Formed in 2012, the group is composed primarily of ethnic Tutsis. They claim to be fighting for the rights of Congolese Tutsis, who they say are marginalized and persecuted. Section 7. The prize, riches beneath the soil. The conflict in eastern Congo is not just about ethnicity or politics, it is also about resources. The region is rich in minerals, including gold, diamonds, coltan, and tin. These minerals are used in everything from cell phones to laptops to airplanes. The control of these valuable resources is a major driver of the conflict. Armed groups, including the M23 rebels, profit from the illegal exploitation of minerals. They use these profits to buy weapons and finance their operations. The Congolese government is also implicated in the illegal mineral trade. Corruption is rampant. Government officials and members of the security forces often collude with armed groups to smuggle minerals out of the country. The international community must do more to address the issue of conflict minerals. Companies that use these minerals in their products have a responsibility to ensure that their supply chains are not contributing to the conflict. Section 8. A crossroads of conflict. Goma's strategic importance cannot be overstated. Located on the border with Rwanda, it is a key transit point for trade and humanitarian aid. The city's airport is a vital hub for the United Nations peacekeeping mission in Congo. The M23 rebels' capture of Goma is a major setback for peace and stability in the region. It gives the rebels control of a key city and strengthens their negotiating position. It also raises fears of a wider regional conflict. The international community must act decisively to prevent the situation from escalating further. A robust diplomatic effort is needed to bring all parties to the negotiating table. The deployment of additional peacekeeping forces may also be necessary to protect civilians and stabilize the situation. Section 9. A plea for peace and justice. The people of Goma are crying out for peace. They have endured too much suffering for too long. The violence must stop. The international community must listen to their pleas and take action to end their nightmare. The pursuit of peace in eastern Congo will be a long and difficult journey, but it is a journey that must be taken. The alternative, continued conflict and suffering, is simply unacceptable. The international community must work together with the Congolese government and people to address the root causes of the conflict. This includes promoting good governance, tackling corruption, and ensuring that all communities have an equal stake in society. The people of Goma deserve a future free from fear and violence. They deserve a future where their children can grow up in peace and security. It is time for the world to stand with them and help them build that future.